ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. Om. So we have been seeing about Dhyana Yoga. So so before we see some selected shlokas from Dhyana Yoga, we saw what is Dhyana Yoga, what is the purpose of Dhyana Yoga, right? So we saw these, and yeah, right. So we saw what is the purpose. We saw one is Dhyana Yoga helps us to reprogram our subconscious mind, and then Dhyana helps us to get detachment from the sense objects and other external people, objects, situations, everything. And Dhyana quietens the mind, so it helps us to see the truth within ourselves. Right. So these three purposes we saw for Dhyana, for meditation. And we defined meditation as a continuous flow of related thoughts as a pure mental activity. And then we saw what is Dhyana Yoga, like how you choose a spiritual practice or take initiation from a guru, and then how to lead a meditation conducive lifestyle, right from waking up to going to sleep, how we lead a meditation conducive lifestyle we saw. And also we saw how you take a spiritual retreats so that it strengthens our spiritual life. And we saw what is the process. So this one I kind of quickly went through because most of us, I see that we are kind of have some practice or the other already. So in general, all practices are has the same structure, right? So initially you have puja, loud chanting, and if needed, some basic pranayama, which will settle the mind, and then wish well for everyone, sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, etc. And then pray, thank the teachers, thank God for all the good things that we have got in life, and then get into the mental process, right? So mental process, like it can be either mental chanting, it can be lila dhyana, manasa puja, right? Or imagine a light and meditate upon that, or japa, right? Mental repetition of the mantra or nama in the mind, right? So you can combine one or more of these to form your that day's meditation. And then at the end of it, again, you show gratitude to teachers, people who have helped you, and go to God. And usually, like you offer all the fruits of the meditation to your Ishtadevata, right? You offer the fruits of meditation to your Guru or Ishtadevata, and you end the meditation. And then, so one thing which we saw was it is natural for mind to wander, so don't worry. Whenever the mind wanders, you need to bring it back. That is what is important. And then we discussed what is the expected outcome, right? So the expected outcome is deep love for God, understanding of truth, free from hankering after pleasure, right? It basically reduces the attachment to sense pleasure. Meditation, one of the primary things about meditation is it reduces the attachment to sense pleasure, right? And then it reduces the expectations, and it also gives, because once you have less expectation, automatically you have more resilience. You can face the ups and downs of life easily with great enthusiasm. So meditation gives all this. and the Shat Ripu, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, the Shat Ripu will come down, right? It will get reduced. So up to this, we saw as the introduction, right? So now we will go to some of the shlokas, just a few selected shlokas, all from the 6th chapter. And we already saw 12th chapter has 4 shlokas related to 4 or 5 shlokas actually related to meditation, right? From the it says, meditate upon me. If you are not able to meditate, then chant loudly. If you are not able to do even that, then do puja. And then if then it says, if you are not able to do puja, then do karma yoga and offer the fruits to me. And basically it's what it means is, meditation is what is important. If you are not able to meditate, you do chanting so that your mind settles down, then you get to meditation. If you are not able to do chanting also, then do puja, your mind will settle down, then do chanting, then meditation. That is why we always start with puja. Puja means like just lighting a lamp, putting some flowers, right? That minimum thing you can do. And if you are inclined and if you have been trained, then you can do a more elaborate puja, right? But in the Gita, Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayaschiti, right? Just a simple offering of flowers or leaves or fruits or water is enough. What is important is sincerity and love, right? That's what is needed. So your puja can be very, very simple also. So with this, we will get into the some of the shlokas. And so one thing is, Gita is a spontaneous conversation. So Krishna plan, like there is a flow which Krishna has planned, and in between Arjuna interrupts. So there is a deviation, comes back, and sometimes even often Krishna himself like tells something and then suddenly he remembers something else, so he goes back and emphasizes another point and then comes back to the flow. So all those things happen. So often the acharyas rearrange the shlokas so that the flow is more easy to grasp, right? So so 6th chapter, most of the flow is very pretty straightforward, but there are some things which can be pulled out and brought to the front like that. Okay. And the 6th chapter starts with Karma Yoga, Anashrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yah Sa Sannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Nacha Niragnir Nacha Kriyah. So the 6th chapter starts with Anashrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yah, right? So it says a person who does all his duties without depending upon the results. Anashrita. Ashraya means dependence. Anashrita means without depending upon. Anashrita karma phalam, right? So the fruit of action. Karyam karma karoti yaha. Karyam means whatever is to be done, the duties. Karyam karma karoti yaha, one who does it, right? So then, so basically like karma yoga, like is considered as the prerequisite, even if not completely, at least to a large extent, you should have progressed in karma yoga. Only then the mind will be ready for meditation, right? So karma yoga and dhyana yoga have to go hand in hand, right? So that is important. Fine. So the basic idea of meditation is that there is a hierarchy of control, right? Let us chant this. I will chant loudly. You chant while being on mute. Indriyani paranyahuhu. Indriyebhyah param manah. Manasastu para buddhihi. Yo buddhev paratastu saha. So, this is a beautiful sloka which sets the context and the ground for all meditation and spiritual life, for everything, right? So what it says is the sense organs are higher than the sense objects. Okay, indriyani parani, and here ahuhu is again a significant word. He says it has been told. So which means Krishna says, I am not the originator of all this knowledge. I am telling you what I have learnt, right? I have already learnt this in my Gurukula. This is what it's a traditional knowledge. And if you look at where this comes from, it comes from, you can say directly come from Kathopanishad. There is a very, very similar mantra in Kathopanishad. And as a part of the Ratha Kalpana, right, the similar, very, very similar shloka comes in Kathopanishad also. So here when he says Indriyani Parani Ahuhu, we can say Krishna says he is remembering Kathopanishad probably, right? So the sense organs are higher than the sense objects, right? Then Indriyebhya Param Manaha, right? So than the Indriyas, the mind is higher, right? The mind is higher than the sense organs. Then manasahatu para buddhi, right? So than the mind is buddhi is higher, the intellect. Then yaha buddhehe parataha tu saha. So that person who is higher than the buddhi, he is the jivatma, right? So the jiva or the jivatma here, the karana sharira, is higher than the intellect, right? So here you can see like manomaya kosha, the vijnanamaya kosha, and the anandamaya kosha or karana sharira is what is indicated as saha, right? The jivatma. So this basically a summary of the panchakosha, right? What we see here is summary of the panchakosha viveka only. So the Kathopanishad puts it in a very figurative way, right? Using the famous Ratha Kalpana, right? Where it says the sense objects are the road, the sense organs are the horses, mind is the rein, and intellect is the charioteer, and jiva is the passenger, right? And the hierarchy of control is established here. So the charioteer must obey the passenger. The charioteer must hold the horses in control using the rein, and just as much tight as needed, right? If he holds it too tight, the chariot will not move itself. And so he has to hold it at the right tightness so that the chariot moves, but the chariot is under control, right? The right level of tightness is needed. Then the passenger can reach the destination, right? So this basically shows that we have control over the mind, right? And the mind has control over the sense organs, and we have control over the mind has control over the sense organs, and intellect has control over the mind, and we have control over the intellect, right? So here if we see, it is beautiful what we have seen, right? So we as jivatma, we have control over the intellect. What do you mean by intellect? That is a value systems, right? So we don't have direct control over the mind. Okay, that's what even in the second chapter, Krishna says, Nigraha kim karishyati, right? So what will just suppression do? We cannot suppress our mind. We cannot suppress our sense organs, right? We cannot suppression will not work, right? Nigraha kim karishyati, he says, right? What we need is a alignment of values so that the mind runs automatically into the thoughts and makes the right decisions, right? Because decisions are made at the subconscious level, right? We don't even know how the mind decides, right? Decisions are made at the subconscious level, and what we can do is we can use our intellect, and we can realign the values, we can reprogram our subconscious mind so that the decisions are taken in along the lines of the values that we want to live by, right? So we don't have direct control over the mind. We can realign the values. That is what is meant by jiva is higher than the intellect. So we can set the values, we can develop the samskaras, right? We can do introspection, we can do retrospection, right? Doing all that, we reprogram the subconscious mind, and that will ensure that the decisions are made correctly, right? So this is what is this shloka talks about. So the hierarchy of control must be established to achieve anything in life, worldly or spiritual. Even for worldly achievements, you need to have this hierarchy of control established, right? And yeah, so basically the Jivatma is different from all these, right? The body, senses, mind, intellect, they're all only instruments, right? So this basic understanding we should have. So we have control and we should establish control, right? If we don't establish control, then they will go in whatever directions which they want. It's a beautiful song by Kannadasan, no? Kanbona pokile kal pohalama, kal bona pokile manam pohalama, manam pona pokile manidan pohalama. So if the control is not there, then like you will basically my mind will distract you and lead you to ruin. That's exactly the opposite of whatever is mentioned here. If you watch that, if you study that song, exactly the same control, whatever is here is what is talked about there also. Okay, fine. So now, once we have understood that, then what do we do with this control? How do we start? Where do we start? So we start by regulating our life, right? To be able to sit and meditate, first we have to lead a life which is conducive to meditation. And we have to establish control over our mind. We have to tell our mind, I am the person in control, even before we sit for meditation, even in our everyday activities. That is what this shloka talks about. Yuktahara viharasya युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्न अवबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. So, to the person who has regulation in eating, relaxing, working, sleeping, waking, yoga becomes the destroyer of misery, right? So, for dhyana meditation to work, first you will have to have this regulation. So he says yukta aharasya viharasya, right? So ahara is eating, vihara is withdrawing from eating. And here actually when you say eating, it can be extended to whatever inputs from the using the sense organs also, not only food for the body, food for the mind also, right? So, yukta aharasya viharasya, then yukta cheshtasya karmasu, right? So, your action, activities, right? All that. And yukta swapna avabodhasya. So, in sleeping and waking also. So, leading a regulated life is a starting point of controlling the mind. Real freedom is freedom from the whims and fancies of the body and sense organs, not freedom to those. This is a very, very important idea, right? So, suppose like if you ask a fifth standard boy or a girl, right? Like tomorrow is a holiday. Like, are you happy or are you sad? They'll say like, yeah, holiday. Like, so basically, like, uh, they think freedom is, wake up whenever you want. No need to wake up early, no need to take bath early, no need to go and catch the school bus, go to school, sit. And in the school also, like periods will be all scheduled, right? There will be recess, there will be lunch, then there will be again classes, then come back to home, homework, like a very, very regulated life, right? That's what happens on the school days. Now, a fifth standard kind of a child finds that regimental and very, very repressive. And that is why, like, if there is suddenly a holiday or, weekends, they feel that that is freedom. But the question is, which is freedom, right? Is freedom waking up whenever you want, eating whenever you want, deciding whether to take bath or not? Is that freedom? Or keeping an alarm at 5 o'clock, waking up at 5 o'clock, taking bath, doing your puja, then having breakfast, having this routine? Is this freedom, right? Now, it all depends on where your identity is. If body is the identity, then giving freedom to the body would be freedom. Whereas if my identity is not the body, it is not the mind, I am the Jivatma, I am the person who is the master of this body and mind, then freedom to the master is real freedom. Suppose a person is sitting on a horse, right? If the horse goes wherever it wants, that is not freedom. If the horse goes to the place where the rider wants, then that is freedom for the rider. So now the question is, are you the horse or are you the rider, right? So if you say waking up anytime, eating anytime, sleeping anytime, right? That is freedom, then that is freedom to the horse, not freedom to the rider. Freedom to the rider is discipline to the horse, right? Only when you follow discipline, then you are actually free, right? So you are establishing your freedom as the rider only when you have the horse under your control, right? So the body and the mind, senses, these are all like the horse. And your freedom is when the horse is under control, right? So waking up at a fixed time, going to sleep at a fixed time, eating at fixed times, right? And having some self-discipline, that is real freedom. Real freedom is having self-discipline, right? Discipline is real freedom, not leading a desultory life, right? That we need to understand. So that is why real freedom is freedom from the whims and fancies of the body and senses, not freedom to those, right? Freedom from those is what is important. Having control over them is real freedom. Only when life is regulated deliberately outside the meditation room and time, the mind will come under control inside the meditation room and time. So, when you are not meditating, when you are not in the meditation room, you have to have control over your life. You have to have a regulated life. Only then, in the meditation room, during meditation, when you want to tell the mind, come on, focus on this, it will obey, right? It will obey you only when you have trained it to obey you outside your meditation room, right? So meditation is not possible without a well-regulated life. And extremes should be avoided. That is what also Krishna says in this. Extremes in eating, fasting, working, relaxing, sleeping, and waking must be avoided. So austerities are for the mind and not for the body, right? So in the 17th chapter, Krishna defines tapas, right? And when he defines tapas, he defines tamasic tapas, rajasic tapas, and sattvic tapas. That tapas by which the body is harmed, where the body is tortured, he calls it as tamasic tapas, and we should avoid it at all costs, right? Gita is against any kind of torturing the body in the name of austerities, right? So austerities are for the mind, not for the body, right? So you should not create any damage to the body in the name of austerities. You have to follow discipline. Say, for example, you can say, for 1 month, I will not eat ice cream. Now, you will not die by not eating ice cream, right? This is tapas, because the body is not taxed, but then you are following a discipline, you are following a regulation by which the mind will be regulated. That is what is important, right? So, because if the body becomes weak, like, you will be not able to pursue either worldly or spiritual goals, right? So the body should not be weakened. The body should be always strengthened, right? And the mind should be strengthened. but the mind should be kept under control by following austerities. This is what is important, right? So, fine. So, before we get to the next, maybe we can take any questions. Yeah, thanks, Avik. Any questions so far?
Sir, you spoke about the different types of tapas. Can you highlight a bit more on that?
Yes. So in the 17th chapter, right, Krishna talks about the Sharira tapas, Vachika tapas, and Manasa tapas, right? So I think we dealt with it in a when we talked about Karma Yoga, right? Uh, so you can go through that recording. Like, so we saw Devadvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate, right? Anudvega Karam Vakyam. So there are three shlokas where Krishna gives a list of different kinds of tapas, right? And it's a beautiful list. You can go through it. So you can look at those three shlokas, right? Devadvija Guru Prajna. Then after that, Anudvega Karam Vakyam. Then Manaf Prasada Saumyatvam. So this is the three shlokas in 17th chapter. And so a few weeks back, we had this discussion on Karma Yoga, and in that we went through in detail. You can listen to the recording. Hmm?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Good. So basically, as you see, like meditation is not possible unless we lead a regulated life outside the meditation room, right? So it has to be an integrated meditation conducive lifestyle, right? So that is the core lesson that Gita says. So let us go back to our lessons. Okay. So let us go to the next shloka here. So next comes the actual meditation when we sit for meditation, right? So far what is called as, like what we did was the Bahiranga Yoga. So there is Bahiranga Yoga and Antaranga Yoga, right? So even in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, so we start with Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, like those are all Bahiranga Yoga. Then comes Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, which is the Antaranga Yoga, right? So basically, there are some which you do outside, right? So that we have kind of highlighted. And then when you come to the Antaranga Yoga, right, what is it that we need to do? So let us read the shloka. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitah एकाकी यत चित्तात्मा निराशीर परिग्रहः. Good. So in this beautiful shloka, Krishna talks about solitude. 6 types of solitude are talked about here in a very graded approach, right? So there are 6 types of solitudes which are needed to be able to meditate deeply. Okay. So what are the 6 aspects of solitude? So he says, Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam, right? So you should meditate, right, in the heart. So rahasi stitaha ekaki yatachittatma nirashir aparigraha. Okay. So let us see. So first is, he says rahasi. Rahasi means environmental solitude. So you have to be in a place where people don't disturb you. Either you can go away from home and sit and meditate, or you can meditate in the ashram, in a temple, or you can even in your own place, right? In your own house, you can have a meditation room or a puja room, or if not possible, like, you sit in your in a room where no one is there, like where no loud sounds, not too much of any smell, right? So you just meditate. You need to have a environmental solitude. So that is indicated by the word rahasi, right? Then after rahasi, stitaha, right? So stitaha means like, that is what Patanjali says, right? Stira sukham asanam, right? So basically, you need to have a stable posture, a comfortable, straight posture, because basically you need to be able to forget your body. When you withdraw your mind and into meditation, you should be able to completely forget that you have a body. Your breathing should go on automatically without any interruption. So for that, you have to sit straight, right? Only when you sit straight, your breathing can happen automatically. Of course, even if you lie down, it can happen automatically, but then you are tend to fall asleep while if you lie down, right? So the only problem, in fact, lying down is a very good posture for meditation, but the only problem is, like, you tend to fall asleep, right? So sitting is preferred instead of that. So if you sit straight, then your breathing will happen automatically without any interruption, right? And so that is important, so that you can forget your body. So physical solitude is solitude even from your body. The first rahasi is solitude from the environment. The stitaha is solitude from your body, right? Then next is ekaki. Ekaki means alone, means it is mentally being alone, where it is a relational solitude, right? So normally we have lot of relationships, roles and responsibilities in the world, right? As a father, as a mother, as a friend, as a son, as a daughter, right? As a daughter-in-law, as a son-in-law, as an employee, employer, right? As a citizen, right? So many relationships we have, and so many roles we play, and there are a lot of responsibilities which come along with all these. Now, for during the time of meditation, mentally we need to just keep everything aside, right? We are not father, we are not mother, not husband, not wife, not a daughter, not a son, right? Not a citizen, right? Every role and relationships, just suspend it, keep it aside. And so Paramarthanji says, like, you can do that easily by taking up a new role. You say, I am a spiritual aspirant, I am the disciple of this guru, I am the devotee of this god, I am a devotee of this ashram. So you take up a spiritual relationship, and you suspend all your worldly relationships, right? Either family or profession or any worldly relationships, you suspend, keep it aside, so that that is another solitude, a relational solitude that we need to take up, right? So you are no longer a worldly person, you don't have any worldly role or responsibilities, at least temporarily. Put everything aside, right? And say, I am a spiritual aspirant, I am a devotee, I am a disciple of so and so, I am a devotee of so and so, right? I am a sadhaka. You take that relationship, and that is called ekaki, relational solitude, right? Then after that, yatachittatma, that is emotional solitude, right? You have to free yourself from all your past grudges, guilt, regrets, anxiety, and future anxiety, fear, jealousy, hatred, all that. So we have to be completely free from that. Now, this is a very, very important aspect of meditation. So we would have led so many long life, we would have done so many stupid things, and we will have so many guilts and regrets. And people would have wronged us in multiple ways. So we might have grudges, right? So we have to be free from grudges and guilt. Now, there is a technique for that, a simple thing. If you observe, people do things, or let us take for us, for example, like, let us say, for example, like 5 years back, 10 years back, we did something exceptionally stupid, which we feel, oh, why did I do that? I should not have done that. And we feel very, very guilty about it, right? Now, if you think back at the time when we did that, now, either we would have thought, oh, this is a very, very smart thing to do. Often, whenever we do something thinking we are very, very smart, and this is a very smart thing to do, later we will be regretting that that was the most stupid thing to have done, right? Because of a wrong understanding, because of a wrong judgment, we would have thought that was a smart move, but then we would have done a really stupid thing, which we will realize later, right? So what we need to understand is, while doing it, we thought that was a smart thing to do, okay? Or at least we would have thought it is okay to do it. Chalta hai. Now, later we regret, we find out, no, no, that was a very wrong thing to do. That was a very stupid thing to have done. So now, now that we know that we did something wrong, means we have grown now. We have learnt a lesson. But at that time, we thought we were doing the right thing. So it is okay, right? We thought it was the right thing to do, so we did. So don't feel too much of guilt, because you thought it was right, you did it, but now you find that it was wrong. So now you have grown. So now don't do it again. Next time, be careful, be more thoughtful, right? Analyze properly before doing an action. So get over that guilt, because when you did it, you thought it was right, right? So it was more of stupidity. It was not out of intention, right? There is it is called Hanlon's razor, right? Don't attribute to malice what you can explain as stupidity, right? That's called Hanlon's razor. So people do things because at that time you think that is the right thing to do, and the same thing applies even to others also. You might say, oh, this person, he did this to me, how could he have done that? When he did it, when he or she did it, he or she thought that was the right thing to do. They had no wrong intention. They actually thought that was the right thing to do, and so they did it. But later it might have turned out to be that it was a wrong thing to do. So just as how you forgive yourself and become free from your guilts and regrets, you forgive others also by the same logic and be free from all grudges. Okay. So people do things because they think that is the right thing to do. Using this one key, right? And it's a fact. It is not something which is cooked up or anything. The fact is, at any point of time, people do things because they think that is the right thing to do, right? Whatever be the reason, right? They think that is the right thing, right? And that applies to you also, to others also. So understanding this, analyzing every situation over which you have guilt or regret or grudge, right? You resolve it using this logic and be free from all grudges, guilt, and regrets. This is important, right? And from the future, you be free from all anxiety and fear by saying that you resort, there are two options. You say, everything happens by law of karma. I will do good thing so that the future will be good. I don't need to worry. Or believe in the Lord, say everything happens by the will of the Lord, and everything is going to happen by the will of the Lord. So I don't need to be anxious. I don't need to be afraid, right? So be free from all anxiety and fear by this, right? And everyone is your own. So don't have any jealousy or hatred, right? The Lord, it's the Lord alone who appears as all these people, right, around you. So don't feel jealous, don't feel hatred. Be friendly to the people who are successful, right? And don't consider anyone as a competition. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha, right? So adveshta, free from hatred, right? Maitraha, free from jealousy, right? And be calm, right? And be accepting everyone. No one is a stranger, Holy Mother says, right? No one is a stranger, everyone is your own, right? So be free from jealousy and hatred. Now you have to resolve all these things, because with these negative emotions you will not be able to meditate. So Yatachittatma is emotional solitude, where free from all these things. Only then you can meditate, right? That solitude is needed. Then Nirashihi, right? Ambitional solitude, right? So during meditation, at least temporarily, set aside all your worldly agenda and ambitions, right? So keep it aside while sitting and meditating. Be free from all worldly agenda or ambitions, right? That is called Nirashihi, right? So multiple places Krishna says Sarva Sankalpa Parityagi, right? Free from all worldly sankalpas, worldly ambitions and agendas, right? During meditation, keep everything aside. Nirashihi. Then Apparigraha. So whatever currently you are possessing also, keep it aside, right? Your bank balance, your house, your, whatever you have, right? Your degrees, your education, right? Your achievements, your publications, right? So your skills, right? You might be a great cook, right? You might have a great skill, right? You might have achieved so many things. So all your worldly possessions, skills, knowledge, worldly things, everything keep it aside, right? Because they're all of no use to your meditation, right? These things will not help you in your meditation. You have to become free from the ownership of all these things, right? So be free from all claims of all ownership of all possessions, skill, knowledge, achievements, everything, right? So this is called aparigraha, possessional solitude, right? So right from environmental solitude, right? Physical solitude, environmental solitude is physically first be in a place alone, then be free from your body, right? Give up your body, right? Mentally, then relationships, then emotions, then ambitions, then possessions, right? Ambitions are what you want to achieve, possessions are what you have already achieved, right? So be free from all these things, right? Then now with this solitude, now the mind will naturally settle on the Atman within. So that is what he says, right? Free, when you free from all these things, right? When during meditation. So this is important, right? This is what is the neti process, right? Not this, not this, not this. Give up, give up, give up everything. Then automatically the mind will settle within. So all your distractions during meditation are because of these only, right? So every distraction is that your mind again goes back to any of these 6 items. So give it up and focus back, right? Clear? So it's a very beautiful list here, right? Which Krishna talks about. So now, having known that this is the process, so the process of meditation is very simple, right? You withdraw from all these 6 strings that are attached to you. Withdraw from these 6 strings, and automatically meditation will come. Okay. So now, how to do that in a more elaborate way, Krishna explains. So this is kind of the summary, right? Now, from the next shloka, like this is 10th shloka, from the next one, Krishna gives a very detailed description of how to do that. Let us see. Suchau deshe pratisthapya stiram Stiram Sthiramasanamatmanah. Natyuchritam nati neecham chailajina kushottaram. So we saw first the first two types of solitude, right? Rahasi and Stitaha. Now, how to do that two types of solitude? He expands here, right? The next shloka. So, sit in a clean place, right? So, it should not have any foul smell, dust, insects, and all that, right? Because they will be disturbing you, right? So, you have to be free from that and have a firm personal seat, right? Stiram asanam atmanaha. Atmanaha means here means your own seat. Like don't use someone else's, right? Use your own, because as you keep sitting, the seat will kind of take a shape. It will get deformed to suit your sitting. So it will not avoid. It will not give you discomfort. That is what is the reason here, right? Main reason is, right, it will not create any discomfort while sitting. So have your own seat. And stiram, right? It should be stable. It should not be moving here and there, right? So stiram asanam atmanah na ati uchritam na ati nicham, right? Not too high, not too low, right? So thing is, it is common to fall asleep while meditation, right? Or it is also even during meditation, as we said, you should completely forget your body. Now, when you forget your body completely, right, it can happen that you might fall asleep. So you should not hurt yourself if you fall asleep. That is why we kind of sit in a posture with a broad base, so that even if you fall asleep, your body will still be sitting, right? Even if you sleep, your body should not fall down. You should not fall to one side. You should be sitting only. So your body should be so stable. Your posture should be stable, so that even if you fall asleep, you don't fall, right? So natyuchritam nati nicham chaila ajina kusha uttaram, right? So the meditation seat, right, it should be a good insulator of heat, right? It should have ventilation and it must not prick the skin. So basically, like one above the other, right? Cloth, skin, and grass, right? So placed one above the other. And like Chailajina Kushottaram always reminds me of the railway seat, right? So you have the coir inside and then the rexin on the top, and then you put a cloth on top of that. It's exactly that, right? You have the cloth, Chaila, on the top, and then Ajina, that is the rexin, or it talks about skin, but basically the modern way of artificial skin is basically rexin, and then inside is kusha, the coir, right? So that is the ideal seat for meditation Krishna talks about, right? So basically, like you have a thick cloth or a woolen rug, right? Meditation seats are, you can buy from any ashram or anywhere, right? So basically, it should be a good insulator of heat. So chailajina kushottaram. This is what the seat which he gives, right? Then the continues tatraikagram manah kritva yata chittendriyah kriyah upavishyasane yunjyat yogam atma vishuddhaye. Okay, so tatraikagram manah kritva yata chittendriyah kriyah upavishyasane yunjyat Yogam Atma Vishuddhaye, right? So there, concentrating the mind, controlling the activities of the senses and the mind, sitting on the seat, you must practice yoga for the purification of the mind. So here, here yoga is upasana, right? So basically, like first you, after sitting, now your mind will not immediately settle down. So you do some puja, chanting, those kind of things. So that is what is meant in this shloka, right? So for concentrating the mind, right, and controlling the activities of the senses and the mind, right, we do some chanting and all that, right? So that is why normally, like when you, after you sit, like you light a lamp, you burn some incense. Like when you burn incense, be careful, it should not create any breathing problems. So often it is better to burn incense at other times, so that, like the puja room has a smell. So the idea is, right, the reason for lighting an incense is to ward off other senses from the other places like the kitchen, etc. Otherwise, the kitchen smell will come into the puja room and your meditation will get disturbed. So by having incense in the puja room, right, it will kind of block external smell coming into the puja room, right? That is the main reason for lighting an incense, right? And then place flowers so that it's very beautiful, artistic place, environment is created. Chant some Shanti mantras, stotras, wish everyone good, like the process whichever we have described, right? So that is called as upasana, and that is what is meant here. This is done for the purity of the mind, right? So basically, if you see, why do we wish well for everyone? Wishing well for everyone is so that, right, you are free from all grudges, right? And thanking, like your parents, teachers, is so that you are free from guilt and everything. So basically, you create a positive attitude towards others and a positive attitude towards yourself also. So everything you can finally link to whatever the six solitude which we have which had listed there. So here what Krishna says is, he's elaborating that how to create that six solitude, right? That is what is elaborated here, you can see, right? So by all these things, like Atma Vishuddhaye means free from grudges, free from guilt, free from anger, jealousy, all that, right? The emotional solitude which we talked about, right? That is what is meant by Atma Vishuddhaye, right? So that we have to develop by thanking our parents, teachers, being grateful, right? And also, like, wish well to everyone, right? So that way you will be free from all grudges and all jealousy and everything by wishing well for everyone. This is needed for emotional purity, which is Atma Vishuddhaye here, right? So that is the next step. Then what do we do? Samam Kaya Shiro Grivam Dharayanya Stiraha Sampreksya Nasikagram Swam Dishaschanavalokayan. Okay, so now after wishing good to everyone, after emotional everything is freed up, so now sit straight with the body, head and neck in a straight line, right? So basically, so that there is no strain anywhere in the body. There should not be any strain, any muscle in anywhere in the body, so that, like, you will be completely free from the body consciousness. So you should be able to forget the body, right? And that is possible only if the body is held straight and steady. Then as you withdraw your mind, you can completely withdraw from the body. Now, then gazing at the tip of your nose, not looking at any other direction, right? So there are multiple uh, types of meditation. Meditation on the heart, meditation in the eyebrow center, meditation on the top of the head. So there are different types of meditation. So here, Gita talks about meditation on the heart. So when you meditate upon the heart, then for that meditation, the gaze of the eye should be downwards, right? As if at looking at the tip of the nose, right? So basically, when your meditation is on the heart, automatically your eyes will be like gaze will be down, right? So that is what here, the focus is mentioned here, right? There are other types of meditation for which the gaze is different. Okay, so here when you say samprekshya nasika gram swam, automatically it means like, okay, your meditation is on the heart here. Then prashantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrate stitah manas samyamya matchitto yukta asita matparah. So prashantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrate stitah, right? So basically, what disturbs us in meditation is either thoughts about the past, right? Grudges and guilt, or thoughts about the future, anxiety, fear, those things, or distractions about the present, the smells, the sights, the sounds, right? Right? And desires, right? All those. So here Krishna talks about those three. Prashanta Atma. So basically, be calm, contented, right? So basically, free from all grudges, free from the past, basically, right? Prashantatma indicates mind free from worries about the past. Then Vigata Bihi, free from fear and anxieties about the future. And then Brahmachari Vrate Stitaha. So free from attachment to the senses in the present, right? So this is the three types of bondages, three types of distractions which can happen. And this is achieved by yajna, dana, tapas, which we saw in the karma yoga, right? So unless you have done karma yoga, you will not have this prashantatma vigata bihi brahmachari vrate stitaha, right? So we saw yajna, dana, tapas, right? That is the way to achieve this. So you should have done that already, right? During your waking time, yajna, dana, tapas, if you have done, then when you sit for meditation, you will have prashantatma vigata bihi brahmachari vratas, right? Stitaha, right? Then manas samyamya matchitto yukta asita matparaha, right? So now this matparaha is a word which comes repeatedly in the Gita, right? God as the goal, right? Matparaha means the supreme, the having the Lord as the goal. Sri Ram Krishna also keeps repeatedly saying God realization is the goal of life. So God realization is the goal of life. God is the goal of life, right? Jivan Mukti is the goal of life. So only when you have that clear first, mat paraha, then only the rest of it will make sense. Okay. So having me as the goal, mat paraha, right? Then asita, asita means sit, right? You have to sit and do meditation. Asita, right? Then manas samyamya matchitto yukta asita matparaha, right? So controlling the mind and the mind focused on the Lord, right? Having the Lord as the goal, sit in meditation, right? So here Gita is very clear about, we don't talk about walking meditation, standing meditation, lying down meditation and all. It's very clear, asita, sit. Sitting meditation is what Gita is talking about here, right? So basically, right? So mind should be focused on the Lord, and then so again, Gita talks about three levels. Like so, when you focus on the Ishta Devata and focus on the entire universe as the Lord, and focus on God as pure consciousness, right? So basically, like here, all of them are indicated, right? So when you say mat chitta, right? Like think about me, it can be either of them, depending upon what is the kind of meditation you are doing at that time. Okay. So manas samyamya, having regulated the mind, right? Having controlled the mind. Mat chitta, right? Think about the Lord in either of these aspects, right? And sitting down, you with the Lord as the goal, you meditate. Right. So this way, the whatever the 6 kinds of solitudes which we talked about, that all those 6 are elaborated here. Right. So quickly, if we go to that, right, the 6, right. So basically, all these things are covered, right? Emotional, environmental solitude, where he said, like sit in a separate place, right? Physical solitude, right? Kaya, sit straight with your head and neck and body in a straight line, right? All that. Ekaki, relational solitude, right? Where he said, like, uh, without any ambitions, without this, without that. Emotional solitude, prashantatma, vigatabihi, brahmachari vrate stitaha, nirashihi, right? When you say matparaha, automatically matparaha means nirashihi, right? The ambition, your goal is God realization and not anything in this world, right? Nirashihi. Then apparigraha, right? Free from all claims of ownership, everything, right? Give up everything and you sit, right? So this way, the full elaboration is given in the Gita for the process of meditation. So finally, God as the goal and mat chitta, you meditate upon the Lord, right? So with this, the process is elaborated. So before we proceed further, maybe we can take a short break for questions. Any questions so far?
Sir, just a clarification.
Mm,
So the 6 things that you mentioned, right?
mm.
It sounded more like a pratyahara process of the yoga, Pantanjali Yoga Sutra. Is that correct?
Yes, in a way, yes. So pratyahara is the stepping point. Then when you say, yeah, so that is a kind of pratyahara. Like, so actually, when you withdraw your mind from all those 6, automatically whatever is left is like your own self, where your mind will settle on, right? So your dhyana will be the next step. Yeah. So that's a good observation. Yes. Pratyahara. It's basically like pratyahara. And of course, asana is also included there because it also talks about the physical one, right? Like physical solitude also. So you can say it is, and pranayama also is included because basically you want your breathing to be so natural so that it doesn't disturb you. You become free from that also. So asana, pranayama, pratyahara, all 3 you can consider that is covered in those 6.
Gokul Mathu,
Yeah.
this is Vishwadosh. I have one question.
Mm,
So you see, it's often advised that you should have your own asan, and even in
mm,
Ramakrishna Math, we see that monks are very particular about their own
mm,
personal asanas, right?
mhm,
They won't exchange, with another monk's
mm,
asana. I mean, it will be
mm.
very individualized asana.
Yes.
Why is this required? Like, why I can't use anybody else's asana? What is that, going to affect? How is that going to affect my meditation?
Do you wear someone else's clothes?
No.
Same. Same reason. So asana is as personal as your own clothes. Asana, your japamala, right? These are all as personal as our own clothes.
Okay. And then the next thing is, earlier they used to use animal skins, like deer skin or tiger skin. Of course, these days you won't get, and also it will be illegal.
Hmm.
But what was the need for having those animal skins on which when they would sit?
See, in those days, basically, like the environment was very rough, rustic, forest kind of environment, right? And like the basically, you want a good thermal insulator, right? And what was available was that. And there were enough forests and enough wild animals in those days, right? So it did not. It was the logical what you call material which was available at that time, right? Now we have lot of fun. One thing is forests are less, animals are less, so we cannot disturb them, right? And it is not right to deplete them even more when it is already less. And also technology has improved that we sit in a nice room, right, in a clean environment, right? We sit inside the building, and nice carpet, nice rugs. So we have lot more technology, lot more facilities are available, so we can achieve the same kind of insulation using whatever modern stuff available. So what is important is the thermal insulation is what is important.
Okay. And another thing you said about sitting posture.
Mm,
So people, will have back pains or spondylitis and those things.
mm,
Let's
mm,
say I will be using chair, for example, a
mm,
comfortable chair, the chair which doesn't shake and
mm,
kind
mm,
of is a stable one.
mm.
I mean, I can't sit
Yeah.
cross-legged.
See, that's what. See, the purpose is very simple, right? While sitting, you should be able to forget your body. Okay. So whatever is conducive to that, it is fine, right? And if you fall asleep, you should not fall over and hurt yourself, right? These are the two basic requirements.
Okay.
Whichever way you sit, as long as you can completely forget your body in that posture without falling over, that is fine.
Okay, understood. So as long as my chair, meets those, that should be okay, right?
Ah, ah.
Yeah.
That was Sthiram and Sukham. The Patanjali says Sthira Sukham Asanam. Sthiram, so that you don't fall over. Sukham, so that you can forget your body. Being able to forget the body in that posture is what is important. Sthira
Yeah.
Sukham Asanam, right? That is the rule.
And the one thing that you mentioned about, adopting a spiritual identity,
Hmm.
so that is, I mean, I thought like, that was very similar to even Sri Ramakrishna's in Gospel when he says
Hmm.
about the right ego.
Hmm.
In
Yes,
Bengali,
correct.
he used to call it Paka Ami.
Me and yeah, Kachami Pakami. Yeah.
So it's similar to that,
Yes.
right? I
Yes.
mean, very
Same.
thing that you are a
Not
child
even
of God,
similar. We can say it is identical. It's the same. Yeah.
same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay,
So you
thank you.
give up your lower other identities, other ego by taking up a higher ego or a spiritual ego. Yeah.
Right, right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Punita.
Sir, namaste, sir. Sir, sometimes because of my leg pain, I'm not able to sit in one posture at all. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to change the position. In that case, how can I forget my body and then I can sit like that, sir?
Yeah, like so you have to practice slowly, right? So first
Okay,
you
sir.
practice for how much ever long you can sit, 5 minutes, right?
Mm.
Then as you keep sitting, then slowly like you will be able to prolong it. So it comes by practice only.
Practice only. Okay, sir. Okay. Is it possible for me to forget my body, sir?
Yeah, we forget the body in sleep every day, no?
Hmm. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good. So let us continue now. Okay. So now, after giving this description, actually after this, the 6th chapter talks about the benefits of meditation, what you will get and all that. I'm just kind of skipping that part because we are more interested in the procedure here in this class. So we'll see. Shanai Shanairuparamedh Buddhya Driti Grihitaya Atma Samstam Manah Kritva Na Kinchidapi Chintayet. Okay. So he says Shanai Shanaihi, gradually, right? So meditation will come slowly only, right? So you need a lot of patience and determination, right? Shanai Shanaihi, Shanai Shanai Ruparamed, right? Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya. So we need to have patience and we need to have firm determination, right? We should not give up, right? So basically it means like we should say, yeah, it will come slowly and be determined, right? Atma samstam manah kritva, by establishing the mind in the self, right? So here Atma can mean either self or it can mean God, either way, right? Atma samstam manah kritva na kinchidapi chintayet. Don't think of anything else. Okay. So Gita never talks about, emptying the mind. No. Emptying the mind is not the kind of meditation we are talking about here. Here, either we think about who am I, the pure consciousness, or we think about God, right? Only one of these two. So, Atma Samstam Manah Kritva Na Kinchidapi Chintayet. So, and so here a side note here. So, basically, meditation is like going to sleep. Make all the preparations, right? Sit straight and then like light incense so that other smells don't come. Cover yourself with the chadar if needed so that the wind doesn't disturb you, right? The cold doesn't disturb you. So basically, like, switch off the light, put a dim light, it is almost like going to sleep only, right? And just like sleep, you do all the preparations for sleep. You cannot force yourself to sleep, right? You just do the preparations and then let sleep come. So that way, right, all your solitude, you just keep withdrawing, 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 right? That you can do by yourself. And then you can focus also by yourself. But then meditation, which is actually absorption, that has to come by itself, right? So everything else is only preparations. So, and it will come gradually only. So hold on to it and follow the process and results will come. Have patience and have perseverance. So patience and perseverance, that's a buddhya dhriti grihitaya, right? So patience and perseverance is needed. Follow the process and let like it will work, don't worry, right? That is what is important. Then yato nischarati manaschanchalamastiram tatastato niyam yetat atmanyeva vasham nayet. So the mind will wander. Don't worry, that is the nature of the mind. So whenever the mind wanders, how many ever times, don't worry, bring it back, right? Yato nischarati manas chanchalam astiram. So whenever the mind is unsteady and wanders away, bring it back, right? Tatastato niyam yaitat atmani yeva vasham nayet, right? And put it back in the self, atmani, right? In the self, put it back. So it is natural for the mind to wander. So whenever you find that the mind has wandered, bring it back gently and focus, right? Don't get disheartened, right? So basically, like here's again, a recap of those six, this thing, right? So follow a meditation conducive lifestyle, right? Resolve and dissolve all the regrets, guilt, grudges, and all that. Detach from the roles and responsibilities, right? God is running the world, so we don't need to worry about it. World will go on. God will take care of it, right? That will give you a lot of strength to detach yourself, right? And then stop valuing sense pleasures and possessions. Have God as the goal, right? So self-knowledge and God realization, self-realization, they're all the same, right? And gradually the mind will stop wandering and settle on God as the self. So this is the process, right? And what is the culmination, right? Like, so what will happen? Again, there's a beautiful Gita, the next Gita shloka talks about the sequence that will be attained. Prashanta manasam hyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutamakalmasham. So there's again a beautiful sequence here. So what will happen when you meditate? So first is prashanta manasam, right? So the mind will become tranquil. So again, it is, you're saying to be able to meditate, you should be free from all grudges and guilt. And then we also say by meditation, you will get a prashanta manasam, right? So the idea is, right, it is both the means and the result. So you put in effort and then you meditate, and meditation will again enhance it. So it is kind of a positive cycle, right? It will build up a positive cycle. So to do meditation, you have to free yourself from guilt and grudges, and meditation will help you to become free from them as you proceed. And from that, you become still more free, and your meditation becomes still more deeper. So it will kind of keep building up, right? So that is what is here. So by meditation, you will become completely free from all grudges, guilt, fear, anxiety, everything. Your mind will become tranquil. So prashanta manasam enam. Then yoginam sukham uttamam, right? So your mind will enjoy an inner peace, contentment, and bliss, right? So you will have a tangible sukha, right? We saw yesterday, right? Like, so atindriya sukham you will get, right? So this sukham uttamam upaiti shanta rajasam. So rajas means like the activity, right? Desire, anger, jealousy, greed. So upaiti shanta rajasam. So all those things will get subdued, right? So upaiti, you will attain shanta rajasam, the subduing of all the rajas. So the passions of desire, anger, greed, jealousy, they all will get subdued. Then brahma bhutam, right? So you will attain the knowledge of the identity of the self and Brahman, right? Brahma bhutam. Then akalmasham. So freedom from all papa and punya, by which freedom from rebirth is attained. So basically, you will get Jivan Mukti and you will get Videha Mukti. Everything will be attained in this sequence as you follow Dhyana Yoga, right? So this is the phala. This is what you will get. So I think we'll stop here. This is all that I picked up. Some shlokas, put them in a sequence. Most of it is in sequence. If you see, right, like this is 27, 25, 26, 27, right? Three shlokas in sequence. And then before that, it is all in sequence only, like from 11 to 14. Yeah, from 10 to 14, right? Right from 10 to 14, 5 shlokas in sequence. And then 2 shlokas from before, which is picked up where Krishna refers to it, but actually like, it is easier to pull them front to form a good sequence. Yeah. So otherwise, it's all picked up from the 6th chapter, right? Fine. Will any questions? Any more questions?
Yeah, Gokul, I have a question again.
Hmm?
See, you mentioned that here we don't empty the mind.
Hmm.
So either I am, like I identify myself with the eternal,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the ripened ego, like I am the child of God or something. But I am never emptying my mind.
Yes.
But there are spiritual techniques where they say, that you stop your thoughts
Mm.
and kind of those.
Mm.
Can you just, give some light on those processes, and
Y-
whether in
Yeah.
Hinduism we do have this, and in Buddhist, I think they do mention about those also.
Yeah. So when we discussed the 12th chapter, we saw, right? Arjuna asks, can I be spiritual but not religious? And then spiritual but not religious means all those secular techniques, right? Where you watch the breath, you count the breath, mindfulness meditation, emptying the mind, watching the mind. So all those kind of things. And Krishna says, Klesho Dikataras Tesham, right? They are all very difficult. And for a person who is so much attached to the body, those things are difficult to follow. Then Krishna says, I will give you an easier approach, and he gives this approach. So he doesn't rule it out, but Krishna says those are all difficult. So the Gita's way of meditation, Krishna himself says this is easier than the other types of meditation, and he gives this.
So it means Gita is therefore kind of suggesting that it's easier to follow Krishna's
Hmm.
instructions than to do vipassana, let's say.
Yes, yes.
Vipassana.
Yeah, yeah.
So therefore, the Buddhist techniques therefore
Hmm.
are more difficult, and for
Ah,
average people, it is far easier to follow the Gita's techniques.
yes, yes. That is what Krishna explicitly says here, right?
Which chapter is mentioned?
12th,
Which
12th,
chapter?
12th chapter, 5th shloka.
Oh, 12th, 5th. Okay, fine.
12th chapter, 5th shloka.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Hmm.
When you say that, I mean, at that time of trying to do pratyahara or going to
Hmm.
dhyana, is it important that everything should be very silent? I mean, if I put a little background soothing
Hmm.
music or something, is that
Hmm.
something is not recommended?
So, see, you should be able to focus on your whatever you want to focus on. So, putting a small background music near you will help to keep away the external sounds, right? The easy way to keep away external sounds is to create a sound by yourself, right? So that you can focus on this sound instead of getting distracted by the external sounds. Yes, it will help, but then eventually, like, you will not even focus on that and you will get in. So it will help. Uh, and also, another thing is, over a period of time, you should kind of learn to ignore the external sounds, right? So yes, sounds are there, external sounds are there, but like, because you can never control the external environment. There will be sounds, there will be people talking around, there will be some smells which will keep around. So sound and smell is a big distraction, right? Because they come even without you focusing on them. So what we have to kind of learn to ignore them, and till then you can put your own sound. Yeah, it will help.
I also feel that because of my naturally the mind goes
Mm,
here and there.
mm,
So it little sound in the background bounces back my mind to the again
mm, mm.
within me. I mean,
Yeah,
instead of something else.
yeah,
I
and
don't know whether
and
that is the
and
right
soon
thing to do or not.
yeah, no, basically, like, you focus inside, and soon what will happen is, as you keep meditating, right, once your mind starts settling down to an extent, right, you will become sensitive to the sound of blood flowing inside your ears. So once you have become that sensitive, then you can focus on that sound instead of, then that will help you to uh, you know ignore the external sounds. So you have the sound of the blood flowing inside your ears. That sound, once you become sensitive to that, then you can focus on that sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Savitri ma'am.
Yes. So one thing I was asking is, this is all for preparation, and once your mind is settled, you will have to think about the the Shravanam, what you have heard, and for that to internalize, right? And really towards that. This is
Yes.
all process of just quietening the mind. But
Yes.
its purpose is then contemplating on what we have learned in Shravanam on the
Yeah.
Atmic,
So,
right?
so that's what he says. Like he said, right? Like after all these things, like Atmani eva vasham nayet, right? Like so, basically, put your mind on me, right? So he says, focus on me. Samstam manah kritva. So by putting your mind on me. So after all this withdrawal, like also positively, you think about what you want to think. So now the final meditation, like the Nididhyasana part, is meditating upon the who am I, right? Or who is God. That is what your meditation is about. Preparatory meditation, there are so many other meditations, like, you do Manasa Puja, you do Leela Dhyana, you do, like value meditation, so many other meditations. Also, you can use the same technique, right? But then ultimately, like finally, you have to go for meditating upon the self or God.
So the preparatory meditation is that's upasana, and when you're contemplating and internalizing, that is nididhyasana.
Yes,
That's the difference.
correct. Yeah, but the procedure is the same for both.
For all the preparation is the same. At that point, whether you're entertaining a thought,
Yes,
that is an upasana,
yeah,
and contemplation and what you are trying to assimilate, that is nididhyasana.
yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Gokulji. So my question is like Vedantic meditation, right? So this I can consider like God, which is like an external. Even when I'm meditating, I am different from the from the object that I'm meditating. But in Vedantic meditation, I have to merge with everything, and there is nobody other than me. So that requires the knowledge. And he says, I mean, the last sentence you said, like, with this you can achieve Videka Mukti or whatever. So, but I think without the knowledge, I can't do Vedantic meditation. So in the 6th chapter, like for me to achieve the ultimate aim that I am no different from anybody, and I am in everybody, and everybody is in me. That part of the knowledge, he doesn't. Is he not teaching it here at this point in time?
Yeah. See. In the when you basically, this is the meditation process, right? So now you have to integrate this along with whatever he teaches in the 15th chapter, in the 12th chapter. The theory portion also is there, right? The 15th chapter entirely like full theory portion. Whatever Vedanta theory, who am I, everything comes there, right? Who is God? I'm not this, I'm not that, right? The Lord is everything. So all those theories already there. So when you do this meditation, automatically, like those theory, everything will start working, and it is Vedantic meditation only.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, yeah. So dot on time. So we'll thank you. I hope it was useful. I'll send you the PDF, and you can use these selected shlokas. You can study them again and memorize them. It will help you. So basically, like what you need to see is Gita is very, very explicitly, it gives instructions on meditation to that detail of how to make your seat, how to sit, everything, right? So meditation is an integral part of the Gita's way of spiritual sadhana. So because karma yoga is usually stressed a lot. Whenever we say Gita, people say karma yoga, karmanyeva adhikaraste. But then Gita equally emphasizes on meditation also, right? So both are important. So karma yoga and meditation both should go hand in hand, right? That is the Gita's way of sadhana. So Ajay, you had a question, like?
No, sorry, I just unmuted, but I didn't have a question.
Fine. Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll chant Priyatam and we will end. Okay. ॐ प्रियतां पुण्डरीकाक्षः सर्वयज्ञेश्वरो हरिः तस्मिन् स्तुष्टे जगत्तुष्टं प्रीणिते प्रीणितं जगत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु जय रामकृष्ण जय रामकृष्ण
Thank you.